all say we're going to lose weight, we're going to save money, and then all of a sudden we're not losing the weight, we're not saving the money. We want to talk a bit about saving the money and making it a bit easier for you. So we've got Shannon Lee Simmons here, author of Worry-Free Money. What I love about this is you're taking the guilt out of spending. So I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and then we beat ourselves up because we spent more than we should have spent. What are we doing wrong, and what do you suggest we do differently?
Yeah, so we're over budgeting. I think that's the problem, right? So we can't spend anything that we want just nilly-willy, but we do need to be careful. And so instead of budgeting with things like, coffee shops, takeout, groceries, this, one week you might spend $100 on groceries, and the other week maybe you buy more cheese. And so it's really hard to forecast. So I'm kind of anti-budget when it comes to that over-categorizing. There's only 4 types of money that we need. We need our money for our bills. Yeah. Pay the mortgage. Yeah. We need our money for meaningful savings, and these are things that are like moving your net assets forward. Then we have short-term savings and spending money, and that spending money is where a lot of the guilt happens. Like, do you feel guilty about a $40 takeout or not? Yeah. So within that, once we know what all the money that goes aside to like do the work of our lives, what's left over is your spending money, and you should be able to spend that guilt-free. And then, so it's whether you know what you can and can't afford, and I call that your hard limit. Okay. So once you have a hard limit, then you're letting yourself off the hook with your spending money. You don't need to budget it. Who cares?
Yeah, if you want to buy 100 lollipops, go buy them.
Go do it.
You want to buy shoes, go buy them. It's part of the expenses that you've said, it's spending. Right. It's fun. Okay, let's talk about mindfully spending. What can we learn there?
Yeah, and so I think that I call this happy spending too. So it's mindful and it's also happy. It just makes sure that within that spending money, we're actually spending money on things mindfully that are filling us up and making us feel happy. So, sometimes we spend money on things that make us feel blue, and sometimes we spend money on things that make us happy. And I'll give you an example. Okay. We have 2 people who both do takeout lunch for $10, and you hear in the media, like, never ever do that, right? Yeah. But one person's like, I really like it. I'm single. Groceries are not my thing. It really actually is happy spending for me. Yes. Then that person doesn't have to feel guilty. Maybe they shouldn't cut that lunch, and they need to cut elsewhere to make room for that for them. So it takes that guilt out of cut the lattes, cut the lunches, and all that kind of those tips. Yeah. So just being mindful of like, sometimes you spend money on things that people don't think you should, but it's okay as long as it's within that hard limit. Like, do your thing. Buy your lollipops. Okay. And you don't have to explain to anybody. You don't need to. It's your money. It's your money. Yes. So do the thing that's going to make you happy. I like the fact that you're making that connection between money and emotion. Oh, gosh. Because it is so tied together. Absolutely. It's not just a neutral thing. No. Ditch the frugal mindset. Yeah. And so this is kind of like we're all a little bit trapped. So, we hear a lot of scary headlines like, debt's rising and nobody has enough for retirement and all this stuff. You turn on the radio, it's all you hear. Yeah. And then we also have like a culture of spending money, right? You want to get the best things, you want to do all this stuff. So it's kind of like one side of you wants to save all your money, and then one side of you wants to spend all your money, and then you kind of feel like, and that frugal mindset is where you feel like every dollar you spend is bad. And so that's what perpetuates the guilt. And the whole point of this is that when we feel guilty all the time, we give up. We do. And that's why this is important for this, because if we don't feel so guilty and we actually feel like we kind of like our financial life a little bit, we're way more likely to stay with it and be like, okay, a little bit's going to go a long way and I'm going to stick it out, rather than just being like, this is insane, I'm not doing this, and giving up, which is 90% of the time because budgets are unrealistic and we cut in the wrong places. It's almost like you're talking about food here. It's the same thing. It's 100%. We have that all or nothing mentality, and then things go wrong. You eat the whole box of cookies. Things go wrong. You buy the $500 dress, or the $4,500 purse, or the $4,500 purse, right? Oh no, I'm in debt anyway. I might as well throw something else on the credit card. So that's funny that you say that. I call it the the screw it moment, and you just kind of say, whatever. What's another $400 on the credit card? I don't care. I'm never going to get there anyways. Yes. And that's the mindset that I hopefully am shifting, because if we can just stick with it, you can actually achieve a lot. That's true. That's the mindset I had all through university. Killed my credit. Right? They had no business giving me a credit card. No. Like first year university, I was not responsible. No. Killed my credit. You say create an emergency account. Yeah, so this would be the last thing that I would do this year, just to make it a priority. A lot of times it doesn't get a lot of love. We're all like about the RSPs and investing, but when precarious work is on the rise, and a lot of people, there's a lot of unknowns in the future, and sometimes just when you open up a bank account, if you've got a bit of cash sitting there, it's like a warm blanket of calm in your financial life, being like, okay, if the furnace breaks, I got it. Right. If somebody loses their job, We got it. And so it's really important with that frugal mindset and with the worry that comes with money, that having an emergency account, maybe it's not working for you as far as like earning 6%, but it's working for you on an emotional level that maybe you can't actually put a dollar price tag on. And so I find people spend a lot less when they have an emergency account because they're not in that scarcity mode all the time where they're just like, screw it, screw it, screw it, swipe, swipe, swipe.
Yeah, you need to talk to my financial advisor because I was trying to explain to him that it's a comfort level thing for me.
Yeah.
And he was trying to say that money could better work. So he said,
Sorry for the eye roll.
Right? I was like, but I need that. I need to know that there's a certain amount there. And maybe my idea of an emergency is not your idea of an emergency. Maybe it's not the furnace. Maybe it's a trip to Jamaica.
But hey, that's happy spending.
Yes, I'd like to see that build. Yes. So anyways, he said get rid of that account, and I didn't. Because it makes me feel good. So I like the fact that you are separating the guilt from the spending. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Really good advice.